going to start the stream, so if that's okay with you.
Yes.
And then I will start recording.
We didn't promote the stream. Sorry.
It's fine. If anybody wants to see it, they usually follow us anyway, so.
Okay. So, just have to sign in.
Hi, George.
Yeah, Rich G Lights. Oh yeah, okay. I'm just activating my bookmarks from her that I set up earlier because I did my homework. Oops. One, two, three.
What's one of your topics? I'm just going to send out a quick tweet about what we're streaming.
State of the meta. Alright, I just gotta get this one stat statistic. It's funny. This is funny. I can't wait to tell you about some things. Got some things to talk about.
Good.
Can't wait to tell you about them. Your hair looks great today. You have fucking awesome hair. You're blessed. And there's no like receding hairline at all. It's completely full. Completely like you're 18 years old. I hate you. Alright, let's see here. Okay. Can't wait to tell you that.
Yeah, this is great.
Ready when you are.
I'm just reading some drama,
Oh.
Magic Twitter drama. I'm trying to it's like it's like a Tarantino situation. Like somebody's posting the conclusion of some drama and like going backwards in the thread trying to find the beginning. I can't find it. All right, you ready?
Is it about the shuffler?
No, I wish it was. More people are on board though.
I
More
see
people
that.
are on board.
I
So
see that.
yeah. All right.
Check.
You want me to turn those down a little bit?
Check.
It's a little loud, I think.
Yeah. Is this low cut enough? Is that better? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I'm here. I have this here. Should probably have my drink on this side so I can not bump into it. All right, here we are. All right. Okay.
Ready? Welcome to episode 46 of Mythic Legendaries, a podcast about Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, brought to you by two old friends who love podcasts and the games we play. My name is Mock Sapphire.
My name is Rich G.
Hey, Rich G.
Hi.
It is May 23rd, 2020, 2:30 p.m. Mythic Legendaries, the world's first and only hybrid Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone podcast.
That's very true.
Coming to you live. We are streaming on Twitch. You can find all of our links on our Podbean. And we also post links on our Discord, discord.me/Mythic Legendaries. It's a great way to let us know you're listening to the show because we're listener supported. And what that we mean by that is if we see that you're listening, that supports us. If you're listening, that pumps us up and it's like a pat on the back, and that's why we do the show. We do it for you guys. You're the lifeblood of the show. So thank you so much. If you're listening right now, we really sincerely love and appreciate your listenership.
Very much.
And if you're watching the Twitch, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
46 episodes, and we're on our way to 50.
You know, we're on our way to 52. You know what that means?
What?
A year. 52 weeks.
Oh my god! That's incredible. That's
crazy, right?
It's incredible.
It's incredible, yeah. Yeah, it's been almost a year. It started in July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
What a long, strange trip it's been, bro.
It's been crazy,
Crazy.
bro.
Keep in touch, bro.
Yeah.
So what's up? What are we doing
On this side of the table, we talk about Hearthstone.
Yes.
I'm a Hearthstone player.
If I came over to that side of the table, would I only be allowed to talk about Hearthstone?
Yes.
Shit. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But we talk about it. 4,000. You're talking to a Hearthstone player who has won standard rank games, 4,025 wins.
Hell yeah. How many losses?
Never hit legend.
How many losses?
Probably. Well,
That's like the poker. That's the poker player thing. Like it's like, yeah, I won 1,500 today. And the first thing people say are like, yeah, but how much you lose?
never hit legend.
Yeah.
But not giving up. Okay, I'm
No,
at
you never
Diamond
give
10.
up.
Diamond 10 over here. This week on the show, I've been told to pause. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's much better. There's a 3D shark in the background. Beautiful.
I wish I could have the shark over here. Ooh, I could have the shark over here technically. Yeah.
What?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Start your.
So what we're talking about this week is we're going to do a meta snapshot. We're going to talk about, hey, when you're at Diamond 10 and you can't get ahead, what do you do? How do you get out of a slump?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
So I'm going to be taking through the steps I go through to try to get out of a slump and try to get a win streak going. Not sure if I'll ever have a win streak again as good as I had during the Murloc Paladin days, where I was just so close I could taste it. But I've made some mistakes with Ashes of Outland. I've made some mistakes that I'll never make again.
Good.
But
You took note of your mistakes.
yes, sir.
Cool.
So we're going to talk about talk about that, how to get out of a slump. We're going to talk about tips, some tips from a top coach, top Tom Wayland. Really cool Twitter. He's on fire right now with the content. Really valuable stuff. Just giving it out for free.
Nice.
He's also a coach. You can hire him. No relation. No, I don't know him at all. It's just just follow him on Twitter.
Good.
But definitely shout out to Tom Wayland because he's got some really cool info. And then we're going to be doing 5 great decks the pros have been playing.
Okay.
And also have round 2 of Can You Stump Rich?
Nice. Can't wait for that.
Trivia.
Nice.
Magic the Gathering trivia.
Awesome. Thanks for all of our friends who have provided some questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally, honestly, I have no idea. I know you guys are communicating outside of my site, you know.
Yes.
I may have accidentally replied to somebody last night in the Twitter DMs, but I didn't see anything confidential. But I answered correctly what question was asked. It was directed towards you,
Okay.
and I answered because it was just like instinctual. Like I saw, I was like, oh, this is a message, and then it said XYZ, and I was like, yes, please. And then I reread the question again, and I was like, oh, that wasn't meant for me, but it still answered the correct way. But anyway.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't even seen that yet.
Yeah.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Our friend, the dinosaur man.
Biohazard dubstep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never sent the answer to the question
Oh. Okay.
that he proposed, so I'm still waiting for that. So this is probably going to take next week off from the trivia, but keep the trivia questions because there's lack of questions. But if you're listening and you want to send in a question for Rich, send it to mythiclegendaries@gmail.com.
And if you want to send any questions in for Mox about Hearthstone, send them to me in our Discord, discord.me.
Send it to Rich because Max won't know the answer.
And we
You'll be
also,
sending out a lot of prizes.
we set up a section of our Discord. I'm sure you noticed the upcoming episode discussion.
Oh no.
No, you didn't notice. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, there's a new section in our Discord
Okay.
that is geared to our community to ask us questions and provide us some ideas for content as well.
Oh, lovely.
So some people have already asked some questions, but so we'll cover that stuff in our middle section today, in between the
Wonderful.
Hearthstone and the Magic stuff.
Sounds great.
Cool.
And what will you be focusing on this week in the MTG arena?
This week I'm going to cover the release of Historic Anthology 3 and the implementation of Historic as a permanent game mode in Arena, which is wonderful.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's another format essentially that
Yeah.
they've integrated. We're going to go over the Historic Anthology cards, and then I'm going to give you a deck tech of a Historic deck that I've been building this week.
Great.
All right?
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Rich G, I have a little bit of a buzz in my headphone because
A
I
buzz?
think it's too loud.
A buzz.
I think at some points it buzzes when it like gets to the too over. Can you lower it a little? Is it possible to lower it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you so much. Yeah, it was really loud. That's great. I have a new headset. It's very excited. New headset. Got a extension cord and a male, female, and I don't know how that stuff works, but Rich made it work, and that's great. These are bows. They're very cool. I love them. I won them in a contest. I'm one of those people that wins things in contests. I do. I enter lots of them and I win stuff, and I love it. So we're going to start with the HS replay. So when you're in a slump, when I'm in a slump, I try hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a try harder.
Mm-hmm.
I try hard to win, and I'll stick with something, until like this show is good for me because I went a whole week trying to make priest work for me.
Right.
It didn't work, and I tried to make pure paladin work, and I couldn't make it work. I won games, I lost games, and I just couldn't make it work. So I have a subscription to hsreplay.net, and I'm trying to make more use of it. So I signed in. Here, I'm checking it out now. I click on the region Americas. I check on Diamond through Legend. And then I'm going to check the last 3 days. So for tier 1, it says Highlander Hunter. Tried that. Couldn't win with it. Good for everyone playing it. I couldn't win with it. Tier 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tier 2 decks.
Wow.
It starts with, at the bottom, we have 50.11% win rate, and at the top of tier 2, we have 52.9, almost a 53% win rate. The top one in tier 2 is for Diamond through Legend in the Americas region is Tempo Demon Hunter. Tempo Demon Hunter, can you believe it? Hunter's still winning. And it's almost at tier 1. Wow. And then Egg Warrior. Egg Warrior is still winning. It's right.
Egg Warrior.
Egg Warrior.
Okay.
Also known as Enrage Warrior.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's this. I guess there's 2 variants. There's Enrage Warrior and there's Egg Warrior. And apparently, HS Replay says Egg Warrior is doing a little bit better than Enrage Warrior. A lot of great players and a lot of great coaches are saying Egg Warrior, Enrage Warrior. Once you learn the deck, it's like playing on easy mode. Great.
You know what's easy mode in Magic?
What?
Historic.
Really?
Yeah, I think one of our streamer friends said that one day about trying to like ranking up in Historic, and they were like, yeah, if you rank up in Historic, it's like Magic on easy mode. I want to play because it kind of like last time Historic ranked was there because it's been gone for a little bit. They took it away, and they had Standard and Historic ranked. And when you play Historic decks, it's a whole different metagame and it's a whole different like world. And it was legit like if you played a good deck in Historic, it was on easy mode because you would just win all the time because people are out there just trying all this different crap, and you just like easy mode.
Rich. Isn't it great when you hear something from somebody else and you're like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But when you hear it from your co-host, you didn't believe me. I told you this weeks and weeks
What did you
ago
tell me?
when you first told me about Historic mode. I said, Rich, that's your mode.
Yeah.
I said, you need to get in there. That's how you're going to climb ladder. I said, get in Historic. It's the same ladder.
It is the same ladder.
Get in Historic.
Yep.
Start flexing your muscles
Yeah.
because you have.
Well, I didn't do it though. I haven't done it yet.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just saying the terminology that you just used is similar and it's correct, but I didn't do it yet.
Rich.
But the Historic ranked ladder is there. I'm already in there playing around with like stupid, wacky, stupid things that are going to just like get crushed. But I want to get that out of my system before I get like serious.
Okay.
And I have 10 days to get serious.
Okay.
So
Well,
listen. I listen to you.
all right. All right.
I take your opinions and your suggestions seriously.
Thank you.
So just keep talking. I'm gonna adjust that thing on your face because it's a little low. And I want
Is
to
it low?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can keep a straight face while you're adjusting my.
You can. I'm just gonna do that.
Closer. Closer.
Alright.
Okay, thank you. So, hey, there was a friggin' patch. They did a patch. They did a meta shake-up. They nerfed cards. They buffed cards. They tried to get Shaman in the mix.
There hasn't been any more buffs since last time, right? Or, I mean, balance changes, right? Everything.
No, they had the
fixed.
third one.
Okay.
And I tried those decks and they weren't doing it for me. So anyway, so again, Diamond through Legend, last 3 days, Highlander Hunter's on top, then we got Tempo Demon Hunter, Egg Warrior, Murloc Paladin. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through these right now, first time with you right now. So Murloc Paladin, and then we got Spell Druid. Murloc Paladin's up there in tier 2, eh? I'm pretty good with that deck. Maybe I should check it out. Maybe I will. The next thing I would do is, well, that's what I would do for me. I'd start there. Then, but let me just go through some of the other ones if some people are listening and they're not at Diamond yet. Platinum for the American server. Platinum Tier 1, Highlander Hunter. Tier 2, Murloc Paladin is on top. And then Highlander Mage is under that. And we got Pirate Warrior. Spell Druid, Galakron Secret Rogue, Pure Paladin. Can't believe Pure Paladin. So disappointing. I really wanted Pure Paladin to work. Highlander Priest, Totem Shaman, Face. So again, for Platinum, Highlander Hunters are up top, and then you got Murloc Paladin, and then Highlander Mage, and Pirate Warrior.
The information that you're sharing right now is because you have a premium account, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm on it too, and I just realized that I can't look at some stuff because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
you gotta have a subscription.
That's cool. Yeah, just so our listeners know that if you want all this detailed information, that you
I'll
actually
give you the
need
keys to it.
the keys. Give me the keys. Give me the keys.
Yeah, if you, that's why I wanted to share it with them too, is because I know a lot of people don't have a subscription. So if you listen to us, you can get free info about the meta.
You know what I read last night? So this is kind of funny about sharing keys to accounts.
It's totally against user agreements.
Yeah, it is against the user agreement, and I read something about saw something somewhere. I can't remember where I read it, but anyway, it was
Don't say a lawsuit.
it was not a lawsuit, but just a husband and wife or partners shared a Magic Gathering online account, and somebody found out that two different players, they weren't playing because you can't play the same account at the same time. You can only be logged in one.
But they shared one account, shared a collection.
They shared it, yeah, and apparently somebody found out, and they like deleted their accounts because it's against the user agreement or whatever. Because two different people played on one account, and there was like a big kind of like, like, why would you do that? Like the explanation didn't really match up to the.
Were they competitive?
I guess they were competitive, and I think that's what the reasoning was, is that they would be like quote unquote farming wins or something. I'm not really sure, but I'm like, wow, just sharing accounts is pretty serious business.
Yeah. For a website like Hearthstone Replay, HS Replay, I imagine this is just like free advertising for them.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
whoever I'm reaching, I don't think anyone listens to the show for Hearthstone anymore.
Stop.
But maybe, okay, just kidding. Platinum. So yeah, Platinum. That, and then at Gold, you got number 1 Highlander Hunter. Wow, with a 58.3% win rate.
Wow.
Wow, people don't know what they're doing against Highlander Hunter at Gold, but I can't win with it at Diamond 10.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 2 Murloc Paladin, Tempo Demon Hunter, Galakron Secret Road. So, if you want anything else, just hit me up on discord.me/mythic legendaries. Be happy to share.
Yeah, you'll be happy to break that end user license agreement and share all the
Absolutely.
privileged info.
No one ever messaged me, so.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it.
So that's, I would start there at the HS Replay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would go to Out of Cards, and I would check, what have they been saying about the meta? They have great articles over there, Out of Cards. And that's what I like to make the show about. It's kind of like a weekly roundup of the best stuff I've found throughout the week. And, so there's a great article, just came out one day and 19 hours ago by Frosty Feet. 5 great decks Hearthstone pros have been playing since this week's patch.
Mm-hmm.
So since Monday, this week, this is some new decks that came out. Board controls Malagos Druid,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I played Malagos Druid. I deleted all my decks and then I created this one. This was really fun, and I feel like it has potential, and it's got more than one win condition too. So Malagos, are you on it now?
I'm not. I'm looking at Hearthstone stuff. You can keep going. I'm kind of looking up cards as you talk about them.
Malagos, for everyone listening who doesn't know, Malagos is a 4/12 legendary dragon for 9 that reads spell damage +5. So yeah, so any spell you have that says do this much damage, just add 5 to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that, and then you have a bunch of spells that do just that,
Mm-hmm.
and then it also helps your board. It also boosts your board clears, and you have cards that make Malygos cheaper. And then, if that didn't work, then you can play Ysera Unleashed, which is a 4/12 legendary dragon for 9. Battlecry, shuffle 7 Dream Portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a random dragon. That's really cool. So it's like a secondary win condition. This seemed pretty strong. When I was playing, I didn't win that one game, but I feel like if I keep playing with it, I could do better with it. But a lot of these guys, they're already, they're pros, and they're like pros, and they're already up there in the legend ladder.
Do you think that somebody that's just, let's say somebody's a 50% win rate player?
That's me.
Like us, right?
Yeah.
We're not winners. We're right in the middle. We're like, we hold our own, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that if maybe this should be a challenge? Maybe we should do this as the next season resets.
Yeah.
Because we started in the beginning. Play one deck for an entire season
Okay.
that has a high win rate, that has like a 60% win rate,
Yeah.
and see where we end up in the end.
Okay.
Do you think we could do that? Do you think maybe for our year anniversary we start, or like the reset of the season?
Oh
do you,
yeah.
Do you think we could do that? We could try that?
Oh, I got big plans for the next expansion.
Mm-hmm.
The next expansion doesn't come out until August.
Mm-hmm. It's a while.
August.
That's not a while actually, because it's June in 9 days.
I did the well, please let's just pretend it's a long time,
Okay.
because that feels like the end of the summer already. If you
Yeah.
say August, and summer hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
But okay, so Witchwood came out April 12th, and then Boomsday was the next set. This was 2018.
Uh-huh.
Boomsday Project came out August 7th. And then Rise of the Shadows came out April 9th, 2019, and Saviors of All Doom came out August 6th.
Okay.
So,
So the beginning of August.
first week of August, so probably the 6th or the 7th,
Okay.
the next expansion. So we could have a long time with these cards.
Yeah.
They could do anything they want to shake the meta up. They've done things where they bring back the old cards from Wild,
Mhm.
and now they're like legal and standard for a while,
Right.
which is crazy. So we can hope for something like that. But
I
until
think-
then,
I think Zendikar Rising comes out in it would probably be late June, which is the next Magic set.
okay,
It would come out in late June, as it's a 3-month cycle, I believe.
Yeah.
And with Arena, I'm assuming it's late June on Arena, because the way this worked this time is that they bumped up the release of Ikoria because of the virus stuff. There's no in-person stuff. So they put everything on Arena like a month in advance, and then the paper cards just came out last weekend. So I think we have kind of the same thing. We have like a late June,
okay.
early July.
Well, that's good for you guys.
Yeah. So we have all these cards right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's rotating yet. So maybe in the next couple episodes we can figure out something like when the season resets,
Okay.
and then we can talk about
When the season resets, I like that.
yeah, because it's right in the beginning. So
Yeah.
the season resets. We're both at the wherever we leave off, right?
Yeah.
So we don't lose any rank or
For June.
yeah.
You wanna try it for June?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever the season. Yeah. For that's what 10
Are
days.
you gonna cheat though?
No. You know what I should. Yeah. Oh, it's Core Set is July. Thanks, Kat. I thought it was Zendikar Rising, right? I thought that was the next one. My bad.
Perplexing Cat
September. Okay. Yeah.
is watching.
Yeah. I told her last night that
Hi!
she joined us in the I was streaming last night in a tournament, and she joined us, and I told her that you always asked about it.
Yeah, because you were down like from day one, and
Yeah.
then I didn't hear from you for a while in the Discord. I was wondering what happened to you. So you're back. Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and thanks for correcting me. Yeah, so Core Set is July, so it's another Core Set 21, which is I feel like Core Set 20. Like this stuff happens so fast.
Yeah.
It's like legit every like 3 months. It's just like cards and cards and cards. So Core Set 21 is coming out, then Zendikar Rising. So, but either way, let's try to do a challenge.
Are you
Here-
gonna?
here-
Wait,
here
hold
first.
on.
No, I'm not gonna cheat. Why would I
But
cheat?
wait a minute.
It's for the pod.
But are you gonna say something like, okay, when I'm on standard ladder, I'm playing the deck we agreed on.
Yeah.
But when I go to historic, it's okay.
Well, I mean,
and then I
it's-
spend all my time in historic.
It's 2 different formats.
But
So
it's the
I
same ladder.
would have to pick 2 decks then. For me, I would have to pick. That's the only way I'd be able to play because
Okay,
I couldn't.
alright.
I couldn't
Let's
avoid.
just get it. I don't care if as long as we have an agreement before we start.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would pick 2 decks: a historic deck and a standard deck. And if I played any of those formats, those are the decks I play, and that's that.
All right. And then
And
I'm just
if
gonna
I
play
wanted,
one deck.
and if I wanted to play like anything else, I can always go to play mode, and I can always go to the standard events and stuff. Like that's different because
Okay.
it's not the ladder. Like it's not. So what our
Alright.
goal is to,
Alright.
is to track our
Progress.
our ladder progress for a
Yes.
whole season.
Okay.
Playing one deck
Playing
that has
one
a
deck.
high win rate.
It has a high win rate.
Yeah.
All right. I'm down. I'm down. I'll do it. I just don't want it to be in Rage Warrior. That's why I just. Okay. So let me just say real quick the 5 decks that pros were playing after the patch. Some pros. These are just this is like a curated list that just found some. This person found some interesting decks that were being played. Board controls Malygos Druid. It's very good. I'm going to try it this week. I've crafted it this morning. Pure Paladin can suck an egg because done with that deck. Tic Tac, and Moyin's Galakron Priest. Played enough Galakron Priest. I'm done with that deck. Jawless Tempo Demon Hunter. I crafted this as well. I'm like, hey, is it winning? Like, let me try it because it's aggressive and that's what I like to play. So I don't know. Now that I know that Murloc Paladin is doing pretty well, maybe I'll try Murloc Paladin. I prefer that over Demon Hunter. And then Alex's Highlander Shaman, which looks like a really fun deck, but probably is not gonna. Might be fun to try, but not to climb ladder. So that was a really cool article. Out of cards, check that out. And then just to wrap up, Tom Wayland at MeatTHS. We've talked about Tom before. At Meat, MEATIHS. Doctor from Cambridge / Hearthstone coach.
Hearthstone Doctor.
Hearthstone Doctor.
Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone. Okay, and he's also a coach at Gamer Sensei. So you can find him on Twitter and find all his links and stuff. He lives in Cambridge, England. And he's a Hearthstone content creator and wants to help people be successful in Hearthstone. And he came out with these cool charts. There are a lot of them, and the one I wanted to go over is this one: organizing your thinking in a logical way. Yes. So.
Organizing your thinking in a logical way. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
So this is like a legit this is like high level Dr. Stone. This is like
Yeah. This
isn't like I'm gonna play Hearthstone and go face. This is like we're breaking it down.
We're breaking it down,
Nice.
and this has already helped me.
Cool.
Reading this
That's
has
awesome.
already helped me.
Okay.
And I'm hoping it can help some people out there. And this is good for anybody, whether you're playing Magic or Hearthstone. So it's just to wrap up the Hearthstone segment, and then I'll check in with you guys again when we do the trivia for Rich.
Nice.
Can you stump Rich? One day we're gonna have bumper music for all these things. I can't wait. Okay, step 1. First of all, your turn lasts 75 seconds. I had no idea. When this rope comes out, you have 15 seconds. Did you know that?
I don't know. I
Is it different?
just know it's like super stressful when the rope comes up and I always make a mistake.
So you have
Because I panic.
75-second turn, and this is how it maps out the turn. So from the first 30 seconds, then the next 60 seconds, and then the next. No, that's not even
30, 30, 15 probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Step 1, check for lethal. Important, right?
Yeah, that is important.
Not relevant at the start of the game, becomes increasingly relevant as game progresses. Consider guaranteed 2-turn lethals, putting your opponent on a clock. Easy to forget, especially in very close games with hard-fought battles for board. Very true. And I know that's happened to me a bunch of times, where you're battling for board and you have lethal and you don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also another reason why you should never concede.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, because you can let your opponent make a mistake, or you can have you find a line, as they call it, right? I'm sure they say the same thing in Hearthstone. You find a line that you might not have seen.
Yeah, I mean, at least don't concede too early.
Yeah.
Because
I'm guilty of the early concede.
Because you may be able to squeeze out one more turn
Right.
if your opponent doesn't see that they have lethal.
Right.
Step 2, ask yourself, what is your plan this turn?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to make the biggest board possible? Do I want to remove my opponent's board? Do I want to apply pressure to put my opponent's face on a 2 or 3 turn clock? That's interesting. I like how he does that.
Yeah.
It's like, 2 turns from now I win, or 3 turns from now I win because of this or that. Do I need to heal? Do I need to gain armor to stay alive? Do I want to draw cards or add value to my hand? Do I have a special game plan which I want to progress? Quest completion, like a quest completion. Am I really far ahead? Or only lose 1 or 2 cards? Or should I play around those 1 or 2 cards? Good question. Step 3. What options do I have in my hand? And which one fits best with my plan for this turn? Try to compare the outcome of each option. Which option creates the most awkward board for your opponent? That's a good question.
So you have to put your opponent on. You put pressure
Yeah,
on your
notice.
opponent, but not pressure like word pressure, not like attacking pressure, but like you give them things they need to deal with or think about.
Right.
So they can't just be like, okay, I attack this turn and win. You present them with roadblocks. Which
Yeah.
is good. Yeah.
Playing cards is usually better than not playing cards. Spending all or most of your mana is usually correct.
I like that. I mean, it's something that's completely valid in the history of Magic, is utilizing all your mana every turn. But now that I watch a lot more streamers, a lot more videos and stuff, hearing people say as they play, how am I going to maximize my mana this turn? Like, how am I going to utilize all of my mana? Where can I put it? It's really cool to see people think through it,
Yeah.
because sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you don't have a sync. Sometimes you don't have like anything to do, right? That happens. But sometimes people will have like, oh, well, maybe if I do this, and exactly, it's like you can present one extra thing a turn
Yeah.
that you might not have if you didn't sort of like just utilize your mana, make a 1/1 somehow, or play a spell during your turn rather than your opponent's turn because you have the opportunity to do it, and that presents another thing for your opponent to deal with. So always looking to utilize, maximize your mana and your resources.
That's awesome. And I didn't even read all of these little bullet points until just now. That's a good one, because a lot of times I forget to do my hero power,
Mm-hmm.
and I have those 2 extra mana, and I could have another 2 armor or 1 armor
Right.
or equip a weapon or whatever,
Some decks have. I know Hearthstone doesn't have abilities, or maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but Hearthstone doesn't have things on board that you can sink mana into that do stuff, right?
Right.
Because obviously Magic does. Magic has permanents that you can pay mana, and then they do something.
Yeah, it's like we have almost everything but that.
Mhm.
So it'll do a battle cry when it leaves your hand,
Mm-hmm.
and it has an effect as soon as it leaves your hand.
Mhm.
That'll happen first, and then any cards that are already on the board that have a triggered effect
Mhm.
after something else happens will happen after that. And then like end of turn effects.
But nothing's paid. Nothing is
Or
like,
like-
you have to pay for it. It all kind of just happens because another thing happens.
Right.
Right. Because mana sinks are sinks, as in like a place to put them.
Yeah.
In Magic is important. So if you're building a deck and you find yourself like in positions where you keep playing the deck and you get to like turn 4 or 5 and you have mana available but nowhere to put it, you might want to go back and look at your deck and be like, let me put something that correlates with the theme of my deck that I can use this mana every turn and like maybe draw a card, like a card that you pay for mana and you draw a card, a enchantment that you pay for and you make a 1/1, or something, because you don't want to sit there and waste every single turn, because again, you want to have your opponent realize that you're also building your board or building your resources so they can't just run you over. So that's what I took away from that.
Yeah, that's a good one. So that's step 3. So that's 30 seconds into the game. Now, we have step 4. Think about the mechanical execution of the turn with the cards you've chosen to play. What order should I play my cards in? Play, draw, discover, create cards first. How should I position my minions to play around my opponent's reactive cards? And is there a punish for going face, or do I need to trade? That's a good question.
That is a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And a lot of times it comes down to that.
For Magic as well, you offer, what they say is offer a trade. Like you justify an attack for 2 reasons. Like, all right, so if I lose my guy, it's okay because I have whatever that's in my hand or whatever follow-up play. But if I attack and they don't block, I get 2 points of damage in. Like, it's a win-win. Like, if they block with their mana guy, like a Paradise Druid, which is their mana guy. Nobody ever blocks with a Paradise Druid because it's a resource. It's an extra mana the next turn. So you always attack. If you have a 1/1 and they have a 2/1, which is a Paradise Druid, you always attack because you win either way. But if they have a 2/2 and you have a 2/2, that both sets, let's say they don't do anything, it's up to you to know if you're going to be able to recover from losing that 2/2 that turn, or them losing their 2/2 is a benefit. So you kind of have to, depending on how your deck is built. But if you're attacking, that means you're an aggressive deck. So you always want to offer a trade because it's essentially it's a removal spell. Attacking being like a combination removal spell. You're like, all right, I would benefit more if that 2/2 wasn't there, and I can recover from my 2/2 being blocked. So let's put the pressure on. You know what I mean? So there's that mental chess game.
Yeah.
You're like, you put your opponent to the test and you see what they do.
If you're playing against priests, it's like a race.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like hit face until before they can remove everything and bring it back. I mean, it's like hell sometimes. Like, unless you have to get through something, you don't really want to exchange, because once you kill something,
It comes back.
as a copy. And oh my god, priests, I hate priests.
That's like a new deck. Well, not new. I mean, it's been around for like a month now. But with the companions in Magic, Luris is a companion that brings, you can cast something from your graveyard, but it also has things in the deck that brings stuff back from your graveyard, including Luris itself. So when sometimes you think you've eliminated the threat, like the Luris, like they'll play it and you'll kill it, and then I always totally forget about a card called the Death Dweller, which brings things back from the graveyard, including Luris. So you're never safe. You're never safe from that kind of deck, and those are the worst because recursion and bringing things back. You essentially waste a removal spell or you waste an attacking creature, thinking that you're safe. So that's a tough deck to play around.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So now we're at the end of our turn. Step 5, rope starts burning. 15 seconds left. Time to stop thinking and start playing cards.
Time to start panicking and clicking things and doing the wrong thing.
If you have a lot of, that's what I do. If you have a lot of cards to play or draw, Rogue, Galakron, Edwin turns can take a while. Warrior, Battle Rage turn. You start playing cards before the rope starts burning. Thank you, Tom. And after the game, reflect on your decisions. What did I do well? What could I do better next time? What did I learn about this matchup? And do I need to change my game plan?
When your rope starts burning in Hearthstone, does the screen also start like
pulsing?
Getting like orange and stuff?
No, but it's literally like lighting a match fuse. Like
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that animation.
And the music gets more tense.
Okay.
It's like
Ours?
Yeah.
Ours is the worst. Because it's why I literally do panic sometimes because it like starts happening, and then what happens is that the fuse starts going, the rope, right? It starts burning, and the screen itself, it starts like closing in on itself.
Oh, God.
So like all the corners kind of like start pulsating orange, and then it starts actually kind of covering up your board. So it becomes a little bit harder to see everything, even though you should know what's on the board anyway. And then the noise, it does this like pulsating like and it like gives you that, like it's increasingly like the tempo starts going, and it's just the worst. And that's why I panic, and I'm just like, no, because it's just blah, blah, blah. And I actually don't know how much time I have, and then I won't, because you have timers too. Like if the fuse goes one time, then you have one timer, and then it'll refuse.
Wow.
Because it's so stressful, I never know how many timers I have. I don't think to look, and then I just end up ending my turn and not doing anything. So I hate it.
Yeah, it's very, it can be stressful.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to watch TV while you're playing too.
Especially, yeah.
You know,
Like cooking dinner and watching YouTube videos, like.
Hey,
you know.
Uhtred, son of Uhtred from the Last Kingdom versus playing against Priest. Uhtred wins most of the time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
No, I don't.
Uhtred.
I don't know
Love
what that
it.
is.
Uhtred. Oh, I'll fight for you, Uhtred. Okay, I'm sorry. So check out Tom Whalen, and he's got a lot of great tips. A lot of great content. Just trying to raise everyone's game up, and we thank you, Tom. And good luck, everybody out there.
Good luck.
In your Hearthstone week. Let me know how it's going. And so based on what I just did today, I'm going to be trying to play some Malagos Druid, see if I can gain any traction with that. If not, I'm looking to Murloc Paladin this week.
Back to Murloc.
That's the Murloc. That's, hey,
Why not?
worked before.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. And then I have a sinking feeling that I'm going to have to grow up and mature
Grow up.
and play Warrior next month for our challenge.
For our challenge.
Yeah.
Our month challenge. Okay.
And that's my turn.
All right. Well, thanks for your stuff. That's a really cool article there. Cool write up. Thanks for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. Oh, before I forget.
Yeah.
Before your end step.
Yeah.
Before your draw
during,
step.
No, during your end step. Is it during your turn or during my turn?
It's before your draw step.
So during my upkeep.
During your upkeep.
Okay.
During your upkeep,
Yes.
I am going to read a Apple Podcast review. We got a new one.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Dano029. Gave us 5 stars.
Wow.
I never expected this, ... Rich G mentioned that he watches my YouTube videos during episode 44. Thank you for being a fan. Heart emoji. Covert go blue.
Awesome. What an awesome review from a person that I've watched their videos for quite a long time.
Yeah, that's so
wonderful.
great. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Covert Go Blue.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And if
Thanks for writing a review.
anybody who's listening to us or watching, Covert Go Blue is a really fun streamer and YouTube content creator that I've been watching for quite a while, and also is now the co-host of the ArenaCraft podcast. Who we're friends with.
Wow!
So there's a whole bunch of connections now there. So anybody who hasn't checked it out, I highly suggest the ArenaCraft podcast, just for being awesome, and also Covert Go Blue's individual stuff, because just a lot of fun. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much for the review.
Yeah, thank you.
Reviews on Apple Podcasts helps us and gives us a nice pat on the back. We really appreciate it.
thank you. So go give us more.
Yes, please. 5 stars.
All right. So this week, Historic Anthology 3.
What does that mean?
So what does that mean, you ask? So every few months, Wizards have been knocking things around. Every few months, ever since the Historic format was introduced to Arena as another game mode, essentially it's a digital-only format. You know how we have Modern, we have Pioneer, whatever. So Historic is a format within Magic the Gathering Arena that they have picked bunches of cards from older sets throughout Magic's history and put them in Historic. So they're only Historic legal. So this is a format online that only has these cards, but you can also play Standard. So it's just like any other format. So all of the cards that are in Arena, all of the older ones, all the stuff from Ixalan, all the sets that aren't Standard legal are legal and Historic, and then these anthology sets are sprinkled in.
Okay.
So it's like, this one is, 16 cards? We got 4, 8, 12, 16,
It's mine.
20, 24, 27 cards.
Oh, cool.
So I sent you the Historic Anthology 3 link.
I'm looking at it
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
So Historic Anthology 3. So there's been 2 of these
Looking
prior.
for Forest Walk. I don't see it.
No Forest Walk. And they like to introduce cards that have a little bit of nostalgia to them for older Magic players, because Arena started with a lot of the newer cards. It was all like the current cards, so I like the way that they're introducing older cards. So you can have that nostalgia effect, but also there's cards that are a lot more powerful than standard cards, so your decks can be a little bit more challenging and a lot more fun to build. So a bigger card pool means more decks, means more fun. So so with Historic Anthology 3, I just wanted to read through a few of the cards that stood out to me in my taste, so to speak, of how I like to build decks.
Okay.
First one is Body Double, which is a rare. That it's a 4 colors of 1 blue. It's a 0/0 creature, which is a shapeshifter. And it says you may have Body Double enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard. So that means your opponent's or yours. So this is fun in the Reanimator decks that I like to build. So when it comes into play, you can make it be something that's dead in your graveyard or that's dead in your opponent's graveyard.
That's awesome.
Really good with cards that have cool enter the battlefield effects, or just big creatures, such as the one that we'll get to last, which has been a big talk. Or a big point in the past couple days. Enchantress's Presence, which is another rare from back in the day. I think that's Onslaught. Is the set it was in? It's familiar to me, and that was like my block that I stopped playing. But it's an enchantment. It's 2 colors and a green. And it just says whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you draw a card.
Okay.
Enchantress was a deck type that was really popular back in like the Urza Saga age. There was a bunch of cards and sets from Urza Saga and onward that really provided to a really strong enchantment-based deck. I miss Rancor. Do you remember Rancor? It was a 1 casting cost enchantment. It gave a creature +2/+0 and trample, and if Rancor went to the graveyard, it came back to your hand.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a super big one. But so Enchantress's Presence, I was having a lot of fun with that. The Hondens, which I had never played during the Kamigawa block, which is where they come from. So the Hondens are shrines. They're legendary enchantments. And they each do something for the amount of shrines you have in play. So remember, they're legendary, so you can only have 1 of each color in play.
Okay.
The ones I was playing around with was the red one, which is the Honden of Infinite Rage. It's 2 colors and red. And it reads at the beginning of your upkeep. So every one of these does something at the beginning of your upkeep for however many Hondens you play. You have in play. The red one deals X amount of damage to any target for however many Hondens you have in play. So if you have 1 in play, it does 1 to anything. If you have 2 in play, it does 2 to anything, and so on and so on. Okay. The green one is 4 colors and green. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token for each shrine you have in play. Okay.
All right.
So you get a 1/1 if there's 1 in play. You have 2
Only up to
1/1s.
4 though, right?
5.
5. Okay.
The Black Honden, which is probably my favorite, at the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent discards a card for each shrine you control. That's really powerful. So if you have 3 shrines in play during your upkeep, they have to discard 3 cards every single turn.
Wow.
But by turn whatever, if they only have 3 cards in play, and during your upkeep you have 3, they'll discard them, and then they always have to discard 3 cards a hand a turn, which is super powerful. If they don't even have 3 cards, they have to discard them anyway.
Wow.
So during their upkeep, they get to draw a card. If they don't play it by their next upkeep, they'll have to discard it, and then their hand will be empty every turn. So that's probably the most powerful one.
Wow.
And I like the blue one because drawing cards is cool, and the blue one draws cards for however many shrines you control. So I played a 5-color Honden deck within the first hour of Historic Anthology being released. Basically, it was like Fires of Invention and a whole bunch of mana ramp to get lands in play, and to find the Hondens and just put them in play and just wait. Like there was like nothing. There was nothing around it that was like very special. It was just like, oh, I want all of these in play at one time to see what they do. And I was at like 50 life. I had like 10 1/1s. My opponent didn't have any cards in hand, and I was doing like 5 damage a turn
Oh my
to them.
god!
It was a lot of fun. It was
awesome.
It was actually more it was more successful than I thought it would. Because I mean, everybody probably has that same idea. Like, get all the Londons in play, and then do what? You sit there every upkeep and you make stuff, or you gain life, you draw a card, whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's all they do. Like, there's nothing past having it in play and having it do what it does. So it's just like, it's just cool seeing all this stuff happen each upkeep.
But you won with it.
I did win with it. It was a lot of fun. Another card that I had never played or got to play with, but our friend Lane the Main brought to my attention and shared a deck list with us, is Maze's End. And Maze's End is a land that comes into play tapped. It adds 1 colorless to your mana pool, but the secondary thing, and I love Magic cards with their last line that says, "You win the game."
You win the game. I love that.
So what Maze's End says, for 3 colorless and tap it, you return Maze's End to your hand, search your library for a gate card, which is a specific kind of land. It's a land type of a gate. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. So this deck literally revolves around searching your library, getting 1 of each gate out, because I believe there are only 10 gates that exist. So you need
Is there land destruction in the store?
not right now.
Okay.
I mean, well, actually, let me tell you, the type of deck I'm going to go over is land destruction. But I'll get there. It's not the land destruction that you're used to.
Okay.
It's no Stone Rain, but this deck was a lot of fun. Lane shared a deck list within the first couple hours. Like right when Historic came out, I did a little couple hour stream in the morning,
Yeah.
and he shared a deck list. I built a couple things. It was a lot of fun, just kind of like jamming shit together and being like, how does this work? How does this work? Maze's End is a lot of fun because I will always try, any card that says you win the game as its last line of text, you have to try to make it work. So I did win 1 game with it. I did not win a few games with it, and but it is a lot of fun. So Maze's End was from, I don't know, one of the is that Gate Crash? No, I don't know what set that's from because I was out of Magic then.
Oh, Wasteland. That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
of.
Wasteland from Tempest.
Yes.
Yeah. No, there is there's Field of Ruin, there's Ghost Quarter, and there's
Sacrifice Wasteland, destroy target non-basic
basic
land.
land.
The land promises nothing and keeps its promise.
Next one that I really like, and I was trying to make a deck this morning work, and nobody would let it happen. Phyrexian Obliterator. Okay, this is a 4 black mana, 5/5 trample. So it's black, 5/5 trample.
Wow.
And it says, whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. Okay.
Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents.
So if anything of your opponent's creatures or spells included deal damage to the Obliterator, that person has to sacrifice that many things. So if they shock it, they have to sacrifice 2 things.
Wow.
If you attack and they block with a 3/3, that 3/3 did 3 damage to the Obliterator, so they have to sack 3 things. So the Obliterator's like strong as
I don't
hell,
want to
right?
touch it. Yeah.
So this morning, I've been having this habit of like playing Magic at night, turning everything off at the end, and then getting these stupid ideas because all I've been really concentrating on is Magic and like building decks and having fun. So last night I was like, oh, what if I built a deck with Phyrexian Obliterator and a bunch of mana dorks and fight effect cards, which fight is like your creature deals damage to another creature. They deal damage to each other.
Okay.
Okay, so if your opponent has a 2/2 and I have a spell like Prey Upon, and that means they fight each other. So your creature would deal damage to my Obliterator, and then they'd have to sacrifice that many permanents because I'm making things deal damage to it.
Did it work?
Nobody would let it happen.
Were they counter it?
So what happened? So it happened like 4 times. I would get it set up, but I would reveal kind of like the theme of the deck in the beginning because you have to draw certain things, right?
Yeah.
So I also included this is in Historic, so I included the Ripjaw Raptor, which is one of the dinosaurs that whenever damage is dealt to it, you get to draw a card. So the creatures in the deck were Obliterators and Ripjaw Raptors. So
Okay.
something happens when they're dealt damage. So all of my games, I ended up having the Ripjaw Raptor first and didn't reveal the Obliterator. So I would have the Raptor, I'd have it fight something, I'd draw a card. And then finally I would play an Obliterator, and my opponent would see what I was doing with the Ripjaw Raptor, and they would just concede.
Oh, they
Because
just concede.
they just concede, because if I ever got my Obliterator to fight something of my opponent's, like creature-wise, they would have to sacrifice that many permanents, and nobody wants to do that.
And you're not playing a ranked game?
No, I haven't gotten into ranked with Historic yet because I want to play around with it first.
Oh boy.
There's a big difference between like competitive Historic and like janky make your stupid idea happen Historic, and that's in play mode. So. All right, so, and then finally my last two cards, which definitely go hand in hand. Unburial Rites, which is a huge, awesome Reanimator archetype card. It's costs the same as every single Bring Your Card Back from the Graveyard sorcery, 4 colors and black. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. But it has flashback of 3 colors and a white. And flashback means you can cast that specific card from your graveyard for that cost. So the decks that you can build now, you can mill yourself, you can put your library into your graveyard, and if you hit an Unburial Rites, you actually get a discount on that spell. So the one problem with like self-mill Reanimator decks is always getting rid of that key card by accident. Like you're kind of taking a gamble, like, all right, I'm gonna put the top 4 cards in my library into the graveyard, but if I hit my spell that brings things back, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Unburial Rites solves that problem because if you put it into the graveyard, it goes there and you get a discount on it. It only costs 3 and 1 white.
What if you play from your graveyard and then do you want to play it again? Can you?
No, it gets exiled. Flashback's ability reads that like you can play it from your graveyard and then exile it, so it goes away forever. So the big ends. Okay, so then the last card, and I know everybody knows this is the last card because it's the biggest and it's the craziest and it's the most fun to play. It's Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. It's a 10 casting cost legendary creature. It's an Eldrazi. It's a 10/10. It's indestructible. When you cast it, you exile 2 target permanents, and then whenever Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of their library. So this is an Eldrazi, and this is a set that I never got to play. I wasn't around for the Eldrazi stuff, but I saw it kind of on the tail end when I got back into Magic Duels, when you and I were playing Magic Duels.
Yeah.
The Eldrazi was in there, but not like, I don't think I ever played this. I don't think I had the card, or whatever it was. So I was familiar with what they were, but I never played an Ulamog. I only read about it. It was kind of like a legend. It was like Ulamog, and what's the other one? The one with the arms. No, that one has arms, but there's another one. What's the other one?
Cthulhu.
Kind of like Cthulhu, but not. Anyway, let's see. So Ulamog is like what everybody has been trying to get into their graveyard and then get back into play. And I did it within like the first 15 minutes because it's super easy to build like a Reanimator deck in Historic. You have Stitcher Suppliers that put the top 3 cards in your library, and then you have like there's a lot of spells that do it. I got it into play, I attacked my opponent, I saw 20 cards go away, and I was satisfied. The coolest way to take advantage of all of Ulamog's power, so to speak, is that when you cast it, you get to exile 2 permanents, which is huge. Like you eliminate 2 of your opponent's permanents, lands included. So there's a deck that's going around now that it surfaced within like the first 20 seconds of things happening. It's like mono green Ulamog. It's got like 16 mana dorks. It's got like Llanowar Elves and Paradise Druids.
Yeah.
It's like all ramp.
Search your library for land shuffle.
Not even those. It's got Ley Lines of Abundance, which is an enchantment that's if it's in your hand during your opening hand, you can put it onto the battlefield for free.
Oh.
And it says whenever a creature is tapped for mana, you would add an extra mana of that source, or an extra forest. So if a Llanowar Elf is tapped for 1, it's actually for 2.
Oh.
Okay?
Nice.
And then like if you have multiple Ley Lines out, you get multiple. And then there's a enchantment land that's included. It's called Growing Rites of Itlimoc. If you have 7 creatures at the end of your turn, it flips over into a land, and you get to add green to your mana pool for however many creatures you control. So it's complete. It's just all this ramp, right?
Yeah.
And then Ulamog. So you're essentially getting like a turn 3 Ulamog if your game goes right.
Turn 3.
And people can't put up with a 10-10 that kills 2 other things, attacks 20 things, go away. So I did cast an Ulamog for its actual cost a couple times, and it felt real good. I'm gonna let you know, it felt really good to exile 2 things and then attack with a 10-10 indestructible and exile, a third of your opponent's library. So if anybody
If it
gets
touched with a death touch, would it die?
no, the only way to get rid of it is to exile it,
Oh, okay.
which is super easy, barely an inconvenience. So,
Pretty sick.
and I ran a poll on our Twitter about Historic, and I'm going to go over the results real quick
Okay.
because so I asked 24 hours into Arena having Ulamog in Historic, and the poll was, I'm over it, I love it, what's an Ulamog, and Agent of Treachery is greater than Ulamog. The winner there with 41% of the votes is I love it. I mean, you're gonna
right.
love it, yeah. Second place was what's an Ulamog, which is really funny. Third place was Agent of Treachery over Ulamog, and then last place was I'm over it, which is great. So it didn't run its course within the first 24 hours. So that was a lot of fun. Thanks for everybody for participating in that poll.
That's cool.
So with the fact that Historic Anthology 3 is out, I built a deck. I built a Historic deck, and we're gonna go over it really quick because
All right. I can't wait.
I had ideas. A few of the ideas came from playing with our friend Biohazard Dubstep, who only plays Historic. So whenever we play each other online, on stream or whatever, he always plays Historic. So I get to see a lot more Historic cards that I wouldn't usually see.
Bye-bye lands.
Bye Bye Lands. So the name of this deck is, in fact, Bye Bye Lands, and
That's cool.
it's gone through quite a. It's on version 6 right now. I did quite a few different changes to it. A lot in the beginning. It revolved around Thran's Temporal Gateway,
Okay.
which is a 4 casting cost artifact. It's a legendary artifact. You pay 4 mana, and you put a historic permanent into play. And a historic permanent is a legendary creature. It's a saga or it's an artifact. So those are historic permanents. So it doesn't matter what the cost of the thing is in your hand. You just pay for it and put it out. Crazy. It's a pretty powerful card.
Yeah.
So we were messing around with it because what card I really like because of the old days. Do you remember Armageddon?
Yeah.
Remember the card Armageddon?
Yeah.
Destroy all
Destroy all lands.
Right.
Yeah.
4 mana, destroy all lands. Right?
Yeah.
Nice.
White
That's
card,
good.
right?
Yeah, white card.
Yeah.
One white, 3 colors, destroy all lands. We are far away from those days of being able to pay 4 mana and destroy all lands. But the closest that we have is a saga from Dominaria. It's
Okay.
called Fall of the Thran.
Okay.
Okay, it's a 6 casting cost
Okay.
enchantment, which is a saga.
Yeah. I'm looking
Okay,
at
you're
it.
looking at it?
Yeah.
And it says the first chapter, and if you're not familiar with the saga, is the sagas have chapters, and chapter 1 happens the turn it comes out, and then during after your draw step, every turn it goes to the next chapter, and each chapter something happens. So chapter 1 is destroy all lands.
You pay 5 colorless, 1 white,
Mm-hmm.
and like a battle cry kind of thing.
Yeah. When it
Shouldn't
enters the
come-
battlefield, it happens. Right. Yep.
They can counter it.
They can only counter the spell. There's one card that exists that could counter the triggered ability, but nobody really plays it.
Okay.
So there is the very, 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 very small chance that somebody could counter the ability happening, but that really,
So if they don't counter it,
if they don't counter it,
boom.
all lands go away. Poof. And the animation's really cool, like everything gets really gray and cloudy and all the lands go away, and then your opponent concedes, which is happening a lot, which is really funny.
That's amazing.
Okay, so destroy all lands is chapter 1. Chapter 2, it says each player returns 2 land cards from their graveyard to the battlefield, and chapter 3 is the same thing.
Okay.
So you're asking like, okay, you destroy all lands, but you get all your lands back, right? No.
Maybe not.
No.
Not if you're playing against red.
So the current version of this deck is
Oh god.
current version. I'm gonna walk through all the cards, and then I'll kind of tell you how it works.
All
if
right.
you can't figure it out already. So this is a historic deck. I call it Bye Bye Lands. It will be obviously deck list will be in the show notes. So card 1, Fountain of Renewal is an artifact, costs 1 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life, and then you can pay 3 colorless, sacrifice Fountain of Renewal, draw a card. So it's good for early game to keep your life total high, and you can draw a card later in the game if you need to. You're sort of running long cards.
Okay.
4 Mind Stones, 2 colorless artifact. When it adds 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can pay 1, sacrifice it, and draw a card. Okay?
Okay.
2 Thaumatic Compass. So that's from Ixalan. That's an artifact that costs 2, and its activated ability costs 3 and tap it, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. And then it says at the beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, transform Thaumatic Compass. And transform means you flip it over. It's a double-sided card.
Okay.
You flip it over, it turns into a land that says tap to add 1 colorless to your mana pool, and then the second ability is untap target attacking creature an opponent controls and remove it from combat. So it's a control piece. So it grabs you a bunch of lands, which is what you want on your side of the table in the beginning, and then it turns into a land that removes attacking creatures from combat. In case your opponent has a pesky creature, essentially it's a Maze of Ith. If you remember that land from the Dark or Legends, maybe I think it was Dark. You basically you tap it and you remove
Where
an
does it
attacking
go?
creature.
Exile?
It stays there. It literally removes it from combat. So
Okay.
you would say, okay, I'm going to attack with this guy, and then I would activate that, and I would say, no, remove from combat, and then it can't attack.
Okay,
So
so it's
it-
not tapped or anything, it's just, you can still block.
If it was attacking,
It's removed from combat, so,
So
the
it's-
next turn
so
it
it's a-
could block.
it's target attacking creature. Untap.
Untap target.
Yeah, so
attacking
it can
creature.
block. It can block next turn. Yeah, because you're untapping it.
Okay.
So your opponent would have to declare attackers, and that would mean they would turn sideways, tapped, and then that's your opportunity to use that. So then you would untap it, and then it could block next turn.
Gotcha.
But we're not really attacking the creatures here. Unless we get to our next card is Finale of Glory. So this is one of our like alternate win conditions. Finale of Glory is one of the finales from War of the Spark. It's 2 white and X. Create X 2/2 white soldier tokens with vigilance. If X is 10 or more, also create X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance. So just to clue you in,
Sarah Angels?
They are Sarah Angels, yeah. We create a lot of mana with this deck, just so you're kind of picking up on it. We get to create a ton of mana with this deck, so that's one of our alternate win conditions. Okay, 4 mana geodes. That's a 3 casting cost mana rock. Basically, when it comes into play, you scry 1, and then you can add 1 mana of any color with it. 4 Power Stone shards, 3 mana. Add 1 colorless for each artifact you control called Power Stone shard. So if you have 2 in play, they both add 2 mana. If you have 3 in play, they all add 3 mana. So those work really well together. You get a whole bunch of a big mana boost there. 4 Karn the Great Creator. So Karn is kind of the key to the deck because Karn's passive ability says activated abilities of artifacts your opponent control can't be activated. So if your opponent has any artifact out that they need to tap to do anything, Karn shuts them off.
Okay.
Karn literally shuts down any artifact that needs to be tapped. So that's a plus. If you +1 Karn, you can turn an artifact on your side of the board into a creature that's power and toughness equal to its casting cost. So if I have a 3 casting cost artifact, Karn can turn it into a creature, a 3/3 creature until the next turn. So if you need to attack, you can. And then really what it is, the best ability of Karn, obviously, is the -2. You get to grab an artifact from your sideboard and put it into your hand. So you have a whole toolbox of 15 different cards that are artifacts to put into your hand.
Wow.
Okay?
That's strong.
1 Settle the Wreckage, that's the instant from Ixalan that says exile all attacking creatures target opponent controls. That player may search his or her library for that many basic land cards, put them into the battlefield, and shuffle your library. It costs 2 colors and 2 white. That's just a board wipe that, you know, in case early game your opponent has a bunch of stuff, board wipe. 4 Shatter the Skies, another 2 casting cost, 2 white, board wipe. Each player controls the creature, power 4 greater, draws a card, then destroy all creatures. 1 God Pharaoh statue. It's a 6 casting cost artifact that says spells your opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast, 2 colors more to cast, and then at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 1 life. 4 Fall of the Thran. So that's the destroy all lands, and then you get your lands back from your graveyard.
I think it's pronounced Thrawn.
Thrawn, Fall of the Thrawn. Fall of the Thrawn. I added blue to the deck to include Shimmer Dragons because I think Shimmer Dragon isn't ever played ever. Nobody ever plays this card, and I was just looking through my collection. Like, I'll frequently go into my collection, click on the casting cost of like 6 or 7 and up, and click rare and mythic rare, and just see what big, huge spells and rares there are. And I'm like, how can I utilize this? And Shimmer Dragon was just hanging out in there. I was like, oh, look at you, buddy. You're all shimmery and blue. And so you read it. It's a 5/6 dragon that costs 4 colors and 2 blue. It says as long as you control 4 or more artifacts, Shimmer Dragon has hexproof. So we have all of our things in our deck are artifacts. And then if you tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, you get to draw a card. Sweet. So if you have 4 artifacts, you can draw 2 cards. So I was like, that actually works, and it's a really good win condition. It kind of draw cards, win condition, etc. Then we're going to get into the lands here, and this is really what makes the Fall of the Thrawn work. There's 1 Ghost Quarter, which is you add 1 colorless to mana pool, or you can sacrifice it and destroy an opponent's land, or you can actually destroy your own land if you want to. It's a destroy target land, and then its controller may search your library for a basic land and put it into play. That's more of a defensive card in the deck to destroy like a Maze's End, you know, those pesky lands that your opponent might have, Field of the Dead, whatever. 2 Karn's Bastion. So Karn's Bastion adds 1 colorless, but also if you pay 4, you can proliferate. Proliferate means you put a counter, an additional counter of any kind on any number of permanents. So you could put it on Planeswalkers to up them. You could put it on Fall of the Thran, which would like, say it had 1 counter on it, and if you proliferated, it would move the enchantment to chapter 2 immediately, so then you can get back 2 lands. Biohazard did that to me in a game, and I was totally confused as to what happened, because he proliferated when something happened, and I was like, how did he just get land? It was a very interesting interaction that I learned, so thank you for showing me that, because
that moves the saga to the next chapter.
Yeah, because it technically says, when Fall of the Thran says, if you when you add a lore counter to the saga itself, that thing happens. So that's like a little tricky rules thing that came up, which is really cool. 4 Labyrinth of Skophos. That's another land that adds colorless, or if you pay 4 and tap, remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. So if something, this is control. So if something's attacking you, you don't want it to attack you, just untap it, it doesn't get to attack. 8 planes, and here is what the combo is, okay?
Okay. This
card is called Bojuka-Bog. Recently renamed Bojerka-Bog.
Bojerka-Bog.
So Bojerka-Bog enters the battlefield tapped, and then the key to this whole entire deck, it says when Bojerka-Bog enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. So you play a Fall of the Thrawn.
Okay.
You don't play your land for the turn. You hopefully have a Bojerka-Bog in your hand. All lands are destroyed and they go to the graveyard. Then you play your Bojerka-Bog. You exile your opponent's graveyard. All of the lands go away. And then on chapter 2 of Fall of the Thrawn, when it says return 2 lands from the graveyard to play, you're the only one that gets to return lands and your opponent doesn't. And there you have it, folks. 4 Glacial Fortress, 4 Hallowed Fountains. Now, so the sideboard is here. Okay, great. So the other way to do this is that Karn has the ability to grab things from your sideboard, so I'm just going to run down the sideboard real quick. One Fountain of Renewal, one Grafdigger's Cage, and then this third card is really what I wanted to get to. It's Soul Guide Lantern, which is seeing a lot of play. If you don't have a Bojuka Bog in hand, you can use Karn to grab a Soul Guide Lantern, which does the same exact thing as a Bojuka Bog. It exiles the target player's graveyard. So the play pattern is to make sure that you have a way to exile your opponent's graveyard that same turn, because you don't want them to get any lands back. That's the evilness of this deck. You just want to destroy all the lands, get rid of the whole graveyard, and then sit back and be like, I'm playing the game, you're not.
That's
So
awesome.
that's the deck right there. In the sideboard, you have an Amulet of Safekeeping, a Damping Sphere. I like Damping Sphere, actually. That's a 2 casting cost artifact that says if a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces just 1 colorless instead of any other type. That's the irrelevant part. The relevant part, it says each spell a player casts costs 1 colorless more to cast for each other spell that person casts the turn. So if your opponent has like a quick aggressive deck or has a lot of mana still after you are able to like clear their board, everything ends up costing 1 more for each thing they played previously. So it taxes each spell. So you really kind of put the pressure on there. Sorcerer's Spyglass, Icy Manipulator, Blast from the Past.
Oh yeah.
One of those is in the sideboard. I have a Thran Temporal Gateway in the sideboard. You know, if you have like a Fall of Thran in your hand, but you don't have all the mana for it, you can pay 4 mana and put the Fall of Thran into play during your opponent's end step, because the Gateway acts as a put anything from your hand into play at any time. So
Wow.
you could technically play a Fall of Thran from your hand as an instant, which is crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Destroy all lands during your opponent's end step. Then you get 2 back on your turn, and then you could find your Soul Guide Lantern or your Bojuka Bog or whatever during that turn, and then you have a graveyard. So that's pretty cool. 1 more Godfrey statue, 1 Immortal Sun, 3 Meteor Golems, and 2 Platinum Angels, which is the 4/4 Angel for 7 mana. That says you can't lose the game and your opponent can't win the game. I've been at like -65 with a Platinum Angel on board. My opponent couldn't kill it, and I wasn't even blocking because I saw the way the game was going. They had 0 way to kill my 1 creature,
Yeah.
but they just had a whole bunch of like little 1/1s that kept attacking, and I was like, sure, I'll just take it each turn. And I was at like -65 because I can't lose and my opponent can't win, or what does it say? I can't lose and my opponent can't win, right?
And you can only win.
I can only win, yeah. So I just sat back, and it's just so funny seeing your life total being at -60 and still playing the game. It's really funny.
That's amazing.
So this is a lot of fun. So I played it in a couple historic events, did okay. Really have been modifying it right now to make it a little bit more playable, a little bit more like streamlined. That's why the Shimmer Dragons are in there. That's why the sideboard is adjusted a little bit. So that's my historic
build.
That's my historic build for right now.
That's amazing.
So it's a lot of fun.
Good luck. I hope you fuck with people hard with that.
I mean, the amount of times where I play Fall of the Thrawn and instantly get a head explosion, meaning somebody concedes, is like, that's how people react to that card. Even and there's been times where people are like conceding when I play it. I'll be at like 9 life, they have 2 creatures in play, and I don't have anything. They just don't care. Like, they would win the game.
Wow.
Like my 1 turn, my 1 spell for the turn is the destroy all lands to try to like stabilize. People just don't like their lands being messed with, and they'll just concede. So
That's awesome.
I want to give a quick shout to the folks again at Goblin Traders, the game store in Ohio, Lane, Maine, who let us know that if anybody wants to play in a Friday Night Magic standard tournament, that's the 3 standard tournament, hit them up in our Discord. They do it, basically we organize and do the pairings on their Discord, and then we just play each other on Arena. It's a $10 entry fee, and we do 2 tournaments. So basically you do 1 tournament, so there were 5 of us last night, so there was like 3 different rounds, and then the next tournament that we do, you can change decks, and then just do another one. Then there's 3 more rounds. So it's a lot of fun if anybody wants to just do like a real life. It's basically Friday Night Magic, just not in person. So do that way. So shout out to them. That's a real good crew of people. Really appreciate them asking and organizing with everything that's going on. And finally, on the standard ladder, I'm at Diamond 3 right now. I ranked up to Diamond 3, and I haven't played a match of standard in like a week because I'm afraid.
You're there,
I
man.
know. I'm so close, and I'm so confident. Like if you look at my profile, my Untapped profile, just kind of go to me, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at this season on how small the amount of games are I played in standard and how sharp of a climb I've made.
Wow.
I want to thank everybody, you, people listening, people on our Discord, people who watch me stream, everybody who interacts with me in regards to playing Magic right now, because this is the best short-term results I've ever had playing the game.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I definitely have everybody out there to thank for the support, advice, fun, interactions, everything, because being at Diamond 3 is literally almost at Mythic. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
it's 3 levels away from Mythic. I made the climb so quickly this month. Like, I was just like, boom, 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 boom. Had a little bit of a little stumble in the last like 50 games, but I really just focused, got there, and I'm just, as people know who listen to the podcast, the goal for me and for you is to hit these levels, to hit like that high level, just to accomplish it. It's not for anything else but the sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, man.
My confidence in the game had been floundering a few months ago. It's just kind of like, I just suck at this game.
I'm there now.
Really?
Where you were. Yeah.
So look at these results. I mean, we can, get the support, get the juices flowing.
Yeah.
A big thing that I realized for myself was don't let the emotion or the tilt factor set in. If you lose 2 in a row, stop. If your opponent got crazy lucky against you and you know that's why they won, and you get really mad because you like, quote unquote, I never get that lucky. I mean, everybody gets that lucky. You know what I mean? You just kind of don't recognize it.
When are you gonna get back on the ladder and get there?
I have what? What's today? The 23rd.
26th,
I literally have like a week. I have to do it this week.
Yeah, you have a week.
So
you have until Sunday the 31st. Is it the end of the month?
I think it ends right at the end of the month. So I'll have to look though. I'll have to look in Arena and see, because it says how many days are left in Arena. But anyway, if anybody's out there who just has any suggestions, there are like tier 1 decks that I know I could play. I just don't want to.
What have you played to get? What has been the big win streak? What did you play with the big win streak?
Teamer Adventures. So my last, let me see if I can see. My last climb, I gotta minimize this a little bit to see.
Adventures.
So I went 5-1 with it. So my last 6 matches. So that's like a whole rank. If I was playing best of 1, you have 6 dots, right?
Yeah.
On each level.
Yeah.
So that's a whole level. So I got to Diamond 4.
Mm-hmm.
I played 1 with the Bring It All Back deck that I had talked about on last week's podcast. I played 1 on the ladder. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try. It's not very ladder worthy if you're trying to climb, but I won. I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, you know what? If I'm winning here, I wanna make a little run.
Yeah.
So Teamer Adventures is just probably the most solid deck in Standard, aside from that Luca Agent and Treachery business that's going on. Because I think Adventures having so many answers in their sideboard and in the main deck, the mana advantage, the control advantage, the tempo advantage, it's just like the deck is just designed so perfectly to do everything you need it to do, as long as you know what your opponent's doing. So I just buckled in. I was like, I know how to play the deck. I know how it works. And I went 5-1. So that 1 loss put me back to the beginning. And then I won the 5 more and got to Diamond 3. And now I'm sitting at Diamond 3 just kind of like staring at it, being
That's
like,
awesome. That motivates me so much.
yeah,
That makes me feel behind, and I'm like, I gotta
No,
get on
that's
there
it.
again.
Yeah, just get on it and go. It's a great feeling to like pilot a deck that you know how it works.
Yeah.
I played that deck actually in the tournament that we played last night for Friday Night Magic in the first round. Like any deck, it can give you like really flood. You can flood yourself with land and not have anything. That's what happened to me in Game 3 of one of the best of threes. I did play James, our friend St. James from Destroy Target Permanent podcast in the first round, and he was actually playing Luca Fires. I was playing Adventures, and I no shade here as far as the way the match went, but my deck destroyed that deck.
Okay.
It was like, and I didn't think it was going to be that easy of a match, but the way that my deck was designed was like perfect for that. So that really gives me hope moving forward into the higher ranks because people are playing that Luca deck.
Yeah.
And it's just like I had an answer and was able, because I knew what he was playing and I know the play pattern and I know what's happening.
Yeah.
That's a big part of playing Adventures, is because you have to utilize your sideboard. You have 15 cards in your sideboard that really kind of answer any deck that you're playing or help yourself. So, I mean, good match, good games.
That's great.
I learned a little bit of a lesson with Adventures, is that it's just like super strong against a lot of different decks. So if I have to do the challenge, honestly, I would play Adventures. And the thing about Adventures, there's like no new cards in it, which is the craziest part. It's all from like Throne of Eldraine.
Yeah.
Like the main deck is all like Throne of Eldraine cards, which is like 2 sets ago now. And the sideboard has like 2 cards from the more recent sets. So isn't that wild to like, you look at a deck that's like 3 sets old right now, but it's super powerful and competes.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. So everybody, thank you. That's the Magic section for today.
If you hit Mythic
Yes.
this season,
If I hit Mythic, I'm not telling anybody. I made up my mind last night. I'm not telling anybody, and I'll have to reveal it on the show.
because I want to buy you green basil.
Okay. Free food from Mythic?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Absolutely. Food is one of the biggest motivators for me.
So tell me. You got that.
It's
You
on.
got to tell me.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's help there too.
And good luck with these upcoming round 2 of Can You Stump Rich? We have questions today from Ron.
Ron. Which Ron? We actually have 2 Ron friends.
Ronald.
Ron Factor? Ron? Or Ron from Time Walk TV? We have 2 Ron friends.
Ron Factor.
Ron Factor.
Yes. And also we have a question from James, patron saint of Instant Speed, co-host of the DTP at JMZ Saint, JAYMZ Saint.
Shout out.
Shout out. Thank you for the question. We'll start with that one. All right. Here it is. He won last week. He stumped you last week. No, that's Lane.
Lane. Yep.
Where's my other one? Here it is. Okay. This is the one from James.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm ready.
Which basic land, plains, island, swamp, mountain, or forest, has an extra print over the others? Which basic land? There's a few questions.
Oh, is this the forest plains thing? The German forest that's a plains, or a plains that says forest? Veld? Is that one? Is that thing? Is that the answer?
The answer is mountain in the set Arabian Nights has an extra print over the others.
Okay.
But there's several questions.
Okay, alright.
That's the warm-up question.
Okay.
Here's a real question.
Alright.
Who were the first 5 planeswalkers to be made into cards.
Oh God. Okay. I probably won't be able to get all 5, but I'm gonna try.
There's 2 that were introduced in Lorwyn.
Lorwyn. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, they were all introduced in Lorwyn. Can you name any of them?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna try. I mean,
Okay.
I know all the main planeswalkers, so I'm gonna try.
5 planeswalkers.
Okay,
So
so
those are the first 5 planeswalkers.
all right, so we're gonna go with Jace,
Correct.
then Nissa, Vivian. No, okay, all right. Chandra.
Chandra.
Okay. Liliana.
I actually knew a person named Chandra.
Did you?
Yeah. Very pretty. Liliana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gideon.
Garuk.
Garrick was the green one.
It was Ajani.
Oh no, damn it. I was gonna say Johnny, not Gideon. So it was one for each color. It's
Yeah.
one for each color, right? So
Yeah.
it was Liliana for black,
Yeah.
Jace for blue, Garrick for green, Chandra for red, and a Johnny for white.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's a good question. I like that. I was not around when planeswalkers were introduced to the game.
Okay.
So that's a really cool test my, because I obviously picked up on storyline as things have gone on, and I couldn't pull the trigger on who I thought who came first, the Johnny or the Gideon as the white planeswalker. That's a good question.
Congratulations, James. You stumped Rich.
Wait.
You stumped Rich.
Good job, James.
Next question is from
I
Lane
mean,
Lane.
I get partial credit.
Yeah, you
I
get
had
partial
that- I
credit,
had
but
that.
you still get surprised because he stumped
Of
you.
course. But I need to recognize that
I feel like if we
I
had
got partial credit.
if we had given you more of a hint, you would have nailed it. Like if we had said like okay, 1 of each color,
Right. Well,
maybe that would have helped.
yeah. I forgot. So the reasoning I forgot about Garrick is because he's black and green currently, and I
Okay.
forgot that Garrick was a planeswalker in previous sets because again I didn't play back then, so I was only seeing him as a black and green planeswalker. All right. What's the next question?
Next question from Lane the Main
Yeah.
at Lane LAIN the Main MAIN, co-host of 1-900 Wrestling and writer for Goblin Traders.
Awesome.
If you attack with a 5/5 creature with Death Touch and Trample, and you block with a 4/4,
Mm-hmm.
how much damage are you taking? I thought this was a really cool question.
You can assign 1 to the blocking creature and 4 to the player.
Exactly. Because of the wording on Trample, it only needs to deal as much damage to destroy the creature. In this instance, since the creature has Death Touch, only 1 amount of damage needs to be dealt to the enemy creature, so the answer being the opponent takes 4.
Mm-hmm. Nice try, Lane. I like that question.
And we have a question from Ron, friend of the show. Ron. Control. What was this?
Which Ron?
What's his Ron?
Which Ron?
You can see the picture here. I don't know if I'm supposed to say his full name.
Oh, Ron. Yeah. That's the Ron factor.
The Ron Factor.
Yeah, rate's 0. The Ron factor.
Shout out, Ron. Thank you for listening.
Ron got a tattoo last night.
Oh, yeah. And his quarantine beard looks
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Look great, Ron.
You trimmed yours. You're
I
a
did.
sellout.
I am a sellout. It was disgusting.
Hey, I thought it looked good.
Thank you. All right, I'll bring it back.
Okay. This is your final question for round 2 of Can You Stump Rich?
Okay.
Here was my sequence. Oh, sorry. Okay, here's a question.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Is it possible, and I have a full answer explanation.
Okay.
Is it possible on Arena to play Krozen Tusker or Nyxbloom Ancient on turn 3? Is it possible? And if it is possible, how is it possible?
Okay. I have to look up Krozen Tusker though.
You don't really have to say, you don't really have to explain it, but it is a yes or no question. It is really a yes or no.
7. So it's 7 mana. So, okay, so seven mana on turn.
Is it possible to play them on turn 3?
Let's see. I have to think here. So give me a second. I wish we had like Jeopardy music. So if you want. Wait, I need one. I would need some more qualifying information though.
Such as
What format are you playing? Because Llanowar elves aren't in standard, so turn 1 Llanowar elf would be like.
Is Ron on stream right now?
Ron's not on stream right now. No.
Well.
So it would be.
Give me your best guess.
1, 2, 3, 4. So, so the only way I could think of it happening would be turn 1.
Oh, it can be done in historic.
Okay.
I'm reading the answer. It can be done in historic.
Okay. So 1. Okay. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you had 3 Leyline of Abundance, a Llanowar Elf, and 3 lands, you could do it.
Okay.
That's my answer. Yes, it can be done in that way. So if you had 3 Leyline of Abundance in your opening hand,
Okay.
a 7 casting cost thing, and then 3 lands, that's 7 cards.
Yeah.
Then you could technically do that no matter what your draws would be. So you would need 7 cards, and that would be my answer. Yes, it can be done.
Okay.
And my sequence would be land, Llanowar Elf, and 3 Leyline of Abundance.
Okay.
And then turn 2, you play a land and you can't do anything. That would be 4 mana, 1, 2, 3, 4 mana from the Llanowar Elf and 2 lands, so that'd be 6 mana.
I love it.
And then on turn 3, you play a land, and then you can play your 7 casting cost thing because you have 7 mana available.
That's awesome.
So that's my answer.
That's awesome. The answer is yes. Here was his sequence for 8 mana turn 3. Need 1 untapped green source turn 1 and the green castle with ability to activate turn 3 plus 1 more untapped land for 7 mana in Simic Ramp, currently feasibly done in historic.
Oh, okay. Simic Ramp.
Turn 1 Grazer.
Okay, so you have 2 lands on turn 1.
Played Simic Scry, land of Grazer's ability. Turn 2 Grazer, green castle, Llanowar Elves.
Yep.
Currently have 4 lands.
4 lands, yep.
And 1 mana dork.
1 mana dork, yep.
Castle can be activated for 6 mana.
And
Yep.
then play land.
Turn 3 land and Krozen Tusker or Nyxbloom Ancient for 7 mana.
Wow.
That happened to him.
That's awesome. That's crazy. Good job. Good job, Ron.
That's awesome.
Turn 3, 7 casting
I
costs.
love the magic speak. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
The Nyxbloom Ancient. The Nyxbloom Ancient is a 5/5 trample for 7, obviously, and it doubles the amount of mana anything produces that produces mana.
Oh, okay.
So it ends up being like crazy mana advantage. So like every land is tapped for 2, and then it's wild.
That's awesome.
That's a cool question. I mean, there's probably a multitude of ways that could be done, and I'm sure the 3 ley line thing is very rare to happen because the ley lines have to be in your opening hand to play for free, and that's like the complicated way that he did it. So either way, it's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Good job, Ron.
Good job, Ron. I just want, for anyone that's watching, or I keep taking off, my glasses are new, so they're a little uncomfortable with the headset. It was putting pressure and it was hurting, so that's why I kept taking my headset off.
But you got a headset, so.
Yeah, I have my other pair of glasses is way lighter and super comfortable. A lot of these I think can be more comfortable if I adjust them properly.
They look good.
I like them. They're like,
And you matched your
funky.
shirt. too.
yeah, matchy. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you so much for listening to episode 46. Please come back for episode 47. We are a listener support show. We are advertisement free, commercial free.
that we are.
Show your support by leaving a review anywhere you can, especially Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, please. Join us on Discord, discord.me/Mythic Legendaries. Join the conversation.
Oh, you know
We
what?
have show notes there as well.
Let me just go over one question from our
Absolutely.
Discord really quick. I meant to do that before we started saying goodbye.
More interaction. We feed
Yeah,
off of it. It's the lifeblood of the show.
It's a different format. I think we do things a little bit differently, obviously, because we want to interact with people who interact with us more. I know a lot of podcasts are like hosts and they talk and that's it, and that's not a bad thing, right? That's how a podcast usually is.
Yeah.
We're trying to be like outside the box, and we like to interact with folks, and basically the point is we want to be talking about things that you want to be listening to.
Yeah.
We want to be talking about things that you have interest in and we have interest in and can share those ideas. So that's the point of us being like, hey, come join the conversation because we want to talk to you. We want to have a good time and we want to share ideas. So
Absolutely.
we did get a question from a new friend in our Discord, and I believe I played him on our arena tournament last night.
Watermelon flavored. That's my favorite bubblegum flavor. Is that what you're gonna ask? Watermelon bubblegum.
I remember. As soon as you said it, I could remember how sweet
Oh,
and gross that
oh,
stuff
it's the
was.
best.
Did you see my mouth?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh, come
Oh.
on. You love the sour. You don't like the sweet?
It was just bubblegum was so like
Oh, so
gooey
good.
and like slimy because of the sugar and like the wax and stuff that was in it. I mean, I love me some bubblegum, but
I can snap bubblegum like a pro.
So there's a question from Nary Callister in our Discord,
Okay.
and this is in the upcoming episode discussion corner. In case anybody's listening, in our Discord, there's a new section. That's what it says, and just blurt out some questions. Hey, talk about this. Hey, what about you? Hey, did you do this? Probe us a little. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Nary Callister said,
Absolutely.
Have I ever?
Probe us.
Have you ever probed me? Have you ever played me? Have you ever played World of Warcraft? And it's funny that you asked that if I ever played World of
Which
Warcraft.
is funny because I play a game based on World of Warcraft and I've never played World of Warcraft.
Exactly. That's why I thought it was an interesting question because I know that about Hearthstone. It's based off of World of Warcraft, and you've never played. I got introduced to World of Warcraft back in 2007.
I never had the processing power of my computer strong enough to be able to play.
Mhm.
I had friends that played, but I didn't have the money.
Yeah, because you needed. I think you still do. Like you need to.
You
invest in
needed
that
a
game.
good computer
Yeah.
and you needed money to invest in. I didn't have either.
Yeah, neither. Well, I had a laptop. So back in 2007, I had this really nice MacBook Pro. At the time, it was like top of the line, and I was working for My Chemical Romance at that time. We were on tour, and everybody on the crew played World of Warcraft. Like that
Oh,
was
wow.
what everybody did during we got somewhere, everything was set up, and then you sit around all day.
Yeah.
Everybody played World of Warcraft. So I was like, you know what, being into games or whatever, I was like, yeah, let me get World of Warcraft. Cool, I like Diablo, whatever. I played for like a week, and it was the most boring thing I've ever done as far as games. Like nobody would play with, nobody would
You were too
show-
low,
yeah,
you
they're
weren't
like, yeah, I
deep.
want to battle you, or however. I didn't even know how the game. I would run around and encounter someone, and they'd kill me, just whatever.
Yeah.
And then I tried to do a story mode or whatever, and it was super boring and tedious. So I definitely still have a World of Warcraft account floating out there, but I played it for a week. I asked my friends who I was working with, I was like, hey,
You didn't
You
fall in
can-
love on World of Warcraft and then like get married
No, I
in
don't.
California
yeah,
at the
no, I don't like-
convention?
I don't like. Yeah, I didn't dress up as a
Orc?
an orc. Yeah, or whatever. But I do know about Leroy Jenkins is from World of Warcraft from that
In the
raid.
Hall of Fame now.
The raid
Thank
that
God.
happened. You've seen that video?
Yeah.
That's what that's from. So
So Rich has played.
I have played, and
He-
I find it the worst. It was the worst, like the worst gaming experience I've ever had.
But it's funny at the end of every Hearthstone term, when you've done everything you can do,
Mhm.
it goes, "Job's done."
That's right. That's from World of
And I
Warcraft.
didn't,
Yeah.
and I didn't
Yeah.
even know
That
that.
was from Warcraft, not World of Warcraft. That was from Warcraft.
But Rich,
Yes,
Rich
yes,
knew.
I did know that. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Um,
Great question.
One more question.
Okay.
Biohazard wants some attention today, so we're gonna.
Okay.
He just asked a question in the community corner.
All right.
As I was reading from it, he was like, so he wants to know objectively, what is the best dinosaur card in the arena?
Okay, that was a question, but I didn't know what the answer is. So that's why I was asking for the answer. So when he's live on the show right
live
now,
on the show, live on the
he's
pod,
got you on the spot in the hot
live
seat,
from the pod.
live from the pod. Best dinosaur. What would you say? The
All
best
right, so
dinosaur?
I'm gonna
and why?
I'm gonna branch out here, and I know what dinosaur he likes. I know what he wants me to say.
Okay.
I know what he wants me to say. I know what direction he wants me to go.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go that way because this is not how I feel about the best dinosaur. The best dinosaur, in my humble opinion, in Magic,
I-N-H-O.
I am a show, and this is gonna come out of left field.
Oh my God, what's it gonna be?
It's an all green dinosaur,
All green. That's,
not a gold
I
card,
assumed it would be green
not a gold one, because there's a lot of dinosaurs that are gold and have a lot of like,
armor.
hey, this does this and it does that and it does these crazy things. And don't get me wrong, those are good dinosaurs, but this one, IMHO, is the best dinosaur. Carnage Tyrant.
Carnage Tyrant.
Carnage Tyrant is 4 colors and 2 green. That is what it sounds like, yeah. It's 4 colors and 2 green. It's a 7/6. It can't be countered.
Oh, I
And
like that.
it has trample and hexproof.
Everything I play, my deck would be can't be countered.
Because you play Hearthstone. You need to keep up. You need to keep the theme up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the best dinosaur card in the arena.
Okay.
That was the question. So those are the words he used. The best dinosaur in arena. I think Carnage Tyrant is, because of the fact it can't be countered.
Okay.
It's a low casting cost. It's easy to cast. 4 colors to 2 green. It can actually be in like multicolored decks. It can't be countered. It's a
Can't be
7/6.
countered.
It has trample and hexproof. Hexproof is huge because it can't be killed too. So
What do you do with it?
you fucking just get beat by it. So
Best card in the game is my double strike flyer that's in standard right now.
the double strike flyer.
Yeah. It's
The-
awesome.
the dragon. There is a double strike flyer.
Is there really?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. What's that?
What is it? I was only kidding. If you're still listening right now, you're the best.
It's called the Terror of Mount Velis. That's what it is. It's from one of the new sets. It's from Theros Beyond Death. It's a 5 colorless 2 red dragon. It's flying and double strike. It's a 5/5 flying double strike dragon.
Terror of Mount
Veles.
Velis.
And then it says, when Terror of Mount Velis enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn.
What?
So-
Flying double strike 5/5. Nice casting cost. Get 4 of these foiled. When Terror of Mount Velis, the forge of Per Forest burns in the heart of Mount Velos, attracting dragons with its blasting, blistering heat. Fuck yeah. Put 4 of those. That's the best dragon in the game.
I would play one of those. That casting cost is so high.
We'll cheat it out.
Yeah, that's actually now that we just talked about this card, I have an idea.
Yes!
Out, so.
Oh my god, make a clip.
All right, I will. All right, everybody, thank you so much.
Thank
this
you.
has been Exit. This has been episode 46
46.
of the Mythic Legendaries podcast. Thanks for everybody watching the stream.
Agora belongs to the Titan.
Have a great week. All right.
Thank you.
Do you want to keep the cables here? Or do you want to take
I'll leave all my cables.
here?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll take this home
Yeah, I
to
figured.
charge it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever used these.
You've had them for like a year, right? 2 years? Something. You were going to give them away at some point, right?
I was gonna give them away, and that event is probably gonna be canceled anyway. That Christmas thing.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised they just cancel it. Because life is canceled.
Like, seriously. Life is canceled. All right. Good pod. Good pod.
Good pod. D3. Rich.
Select.
So awesome.
Edit. Select all. Edit. Select all. Effect. Normalize. There we go. Say yes. Yeah, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid to play. Isn't that funny?
I know exactly.
But you know the feeling, right? You
Yeah.
know, yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah, so we had a shit ton of downloads last week, and it was weird. I don't know where they all came from, but I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna release it on Monday morning
Okay.
or Sunday night actually, because I think I have a feeling that maybe Monday is a better day to put stuff out.
Yeah. Try it.
So I'm gonna try it again because yeah, we had that one episode. Last week's episode got more downloads in 3 days than like the last 2 episodes did in 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I mean, maybe it was
We
just
had one retweet that we usually don't get. I wonder if that could have made all the difference.
yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with just what we're doing with the streaming and the like interacting and a lot of that stuff. Just more people are kind of seeing that we keep doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
not just like, oh, whatever. And that's the key to all of this stuff. Like, is just consistency. So
Yeah. I gotta get a selfie stick so we can make some fun
a
promos.
schnuffy stick.
Oh wait, let's try with this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just remembered.